Hello everyone, today I'm doing something different for showcasing my speedrun, and will be giving commentary explaining the reasoning behind each decision and strategy. Given that this is a P2 Fenix run, you'd imagine this is just an angry zealot bashing his head on the objectives over and over again until they die. But there is a surprising amount of little tricks and optimizations for helping him out. The mastery choices, I went with Fenix offline energy regeneration, since I'm going to be using a lot of mass recalls with the Arbiter. Then I used Champion Attack Speed Mastery, because more DPS is better for speedruns. And for the third set, I used Supply Mastery, so that I just need one pylon for the entire run to power all my buildings. Okay, so getting started. The first real decision is made very early on, which is when to build the first pylon. You would imagine that since Caldalis is the star of the speedrun, you want to rush, you want to get him out as quickly as possible, which would mean the first thing you might want to build is a pylon. But I actually decided to build a probe before the first pylon, and that is because the extra minerals do help out in getting the tech and infrastructure up, to the point there really isn't much difference between going probe first and going pylon first. Going 2 probes before pylon gives continuous worker production, but then you actually do feel the slowdown a little bit from the delayed tech. And the next thing you'll notice is the choice to add a robo. Since Caldalis doesn't need a lot of zealots to maintain maximum tactical data web, you can afford to add a support champion to add that extra small bit of damage. Talus is one option, but I ultimately decided to go for Tal'Darim because I wanted to build observers as well, to provide vision for Fenix's Arbiter suit. And Tal'Darim himself is pretty tanky, also has decent DPS. So yeah, I think Tal'Darim is the best choice, even if I didn't have observers. Where I place the structures is also planned out. This run used to depend on getting Protoss ground composition, but it's no longer the case. If I roll an air composition, I have the production structures placed to minimize aggro on the units produced out of them for a little while, because the second attack wave will have air units. And I rally my forces at the bottom of this ramp here instead of through the center to avoid that second attack wave. Because of this, I found that the actual best composition for this run is the Adept Tempest comp. Since the Phoenixes won't really do much and the Adepts definitely don't do much to the structures. The first wave is fairly straightforward to deal with, but I do use a second zealot to help Caldalis preserve health. So you can see the second zealot helping here. It is very important to preserve health on Caldalis to make the second objective as consistent as possible. I want to transfer as few shells as possible for the second objective. So if Caldalis is too low on health after clearing out this area, then I'll need to bring an extra zealot to the second objective for that extra transfer. Okay, so once the first void shard is out, I have Caldalis and one zealot attacking it, as well as Tal'Darim, so I'm just going to need one transfer for the second objective. And the rest are just rallied to the center here. So the first shard goes down pretty fast, and now for the second objective, where I had Fenix's Arbiter suit in position thanks to the first observer. Anyways, you start using Fenix's default suit to tank. Normally I would prefer to sacrifice Caldalis a few times to stack Avenging Protocol, but right now I don't have a lot of extra shells, and it does actually waste a few seconds of travel time for each shell to get back to the shard. I'd rather keep up maximum tactical data web for the time being, and begin stacking Avenging Protocol at the third objective. And in the meantime, once my second Tal'Darim is out, I have my second observer ready to go, again rallied, so that I can get it to the second spotting position. And then the next shell for Caldalis is sacrificed, and I already have Fenix's Arbiter suit in position thanks to my first observer to get to the third objective. The third objective is where the run gets highly inconsistent and is the toughest part to get past. For one, space is really tight, and Caldalis tends to get stuck behind my forces that are on hold position so they don't scatter everywhere and draw unnecessary aggro. I do need to aggro the right number of units, including the big hybrid over here, so that Caudalus, who should have 2 stacks of Avenging Protocol from being sacrificed at the second objective, so insane attack speed, and I want to use that boost to quickly kill the nearby threats and secure the area. I also switch over to the Dragoon suit, just to take out this pesky Void Ray that will otherwise get free shots. So you can see how quickly Caudalus takes care of the nearby threats. Okay, so once the area is relatively secure, I need Caudalus to work on the relatively undefended shard here, while Tal'Darim and the rest of the Zealot shells work on the nearby shard over here. Fenix, as you can see, is taken away to handle the second attack wave. If it's a ground composition, Fenix can clear most of it by himself. If it's an air composition, I just need him to get rid of the ground units accompanying the flyers. Now, one might be tempted to think Caudalus should actually start off by attacking the far shard over here, but that is actually a mistake. Remember that each trip that Caudalus makes takes time, and since the shells are kept in this corner, each trip that Caudalus makes takes about 3 to 4 seconds to run over to the shard. And since the defenders here are pretty thick, it takes 3 to 4 trips to actually clear the shard. So you're looking at least 12 seconds of time loss just having Caudalus run to the shard over and over again. So to minimize the impact, Caudalus needs distractions as well as shells nearby to minimize travel time, and that can only be done once the other 2 shards are cleared. And it's also important to dodge these circles, especially for Caudalus, so that he's not stunned.
One fewer void shard for us to deal with.
Hardly a match, but
Okay, so with those 2 shards gone, I have Caudalus finally move over to the final shard of the 3rd objective. And yeah, I'm moving Tal'Darim in as well because Tal'Darim provides a decent distraction. And now the shells are closer, so they don't have to use as many trips. And in the meantime, I have Fenix already in position for the next objective. And I also have the second observer reaching the next spawning point. The final objective begins similarly to the 3rd. I have a shard that my forces can whack away at while Caudalus does his angry zealot things on the other shards. However, I do want to use this first transfer right now to take care of some ground forces that would otherwise get attracted to my army. Since this shard is actually pretty big and whatever attacks it will draw aggro from a relatively large radius. So I ideally want Caudalus to be at about half health, so that he just kills a few units and then dies and transfers over to the next shell. If he's at too high of a health, I just have him whack away at this central shard for a little bit, just to make this section a little bit more consistent. Okay, so in the meantime, I also use Fenix's default suit to continue tanking, since he does draw a lot of aggro and has a nice bit of health along with the shield capacitor skill to let him last a while. Okay, so once Caudalus transfers shells, I want to attack this mothership shard. I want this shard to be near the verge of death, but not actually killed, so that I can set up for the dialogue skip. So you know that each time you kill a shard, or an objective in general, there's some sort of a victory dialogue. This time it's from Faraday, and then your commander makes a response, and speedrunners hate that because it wastes time at the end. However, there's a window of time after getting this dialogue in which it cannot trigger again. It's about 20 to 30 seconds. The plan for this run is to trigger 1 dialogue when I'm ready, and then quickly kill the remaining 3 before the dialogue cooldown is over. So I don't want to kill this shard just yet. Since the defenders are very thick here, I want to use Fenix to continue tanking for Caudalus just like I did at the second objective. This part is fairly tricky to do because Fenix needs to be at just the right distance ahead of Caudalus to draw fire, but not so much that Caudalus lives too long, which has ruined runs before. I want Caudalus to draw just enough fire so that he dies just as the shard's health gets low. If Caldalis lives too long, then I have to run him around on purpose to get him killed so that I have the next shell transfer, and that wastes time. So while Caldalis is whacking away at the shard, I move my second observer into place.
This warrior awakens.
The safe area for Caldalis is actually quite narrow. You have this encampment here and another encampment here. And to get the safe area consistently, I actually use this fence as a visual indicator for where to send it. So with the first shard almost dead, so a little above 200 health, which is really nice, I want to send Caldalis, after the transfer, to the central shard. This is the shard that I want to kill to trigger the dialogue, and then it's a rush to kill the other three. And I want Caldalis to be able to kill this shard, and then the mothership shard, which is on the verge of death, on the same trip. Because remember, we want to save time that Caldalis takes to run from shard to shard. So, to do that, I summon Fenix's Dragoon Suit. So, Fenix's Dragoon Suit will draw aggro, as well as uses Arsenal Overcharge to do a little bit of burst damage onto the Void Shard. As such. Now, the location for where to place the Dragoon Suit is actually not random. I chose this spot specifically so that the enemy Immortal and this Hybrid Destroyer will block this large Hybrid from getting close, which makes Caldalis last a lot longer. And so without Fenix's help, Caldalis would need at least 2 trips to clear this shard and the Mothership shard, which is at least 6 to 8 seconds of time loss. But yeah, kill this shard, and then finally snipe that shard. Just in time. And once Caldalis transfers over back to the units here, you kill the left side shard that the forces have been whacking away at for a while. And then now, I can use the second observer that's spotting to summon the Arbiter Suit. And I recall everyone over and stasis some of the surrounding units. And after that, it's just a matter of right-clicking the final shard to end the mission. So yeah, that's the Fenix P2, just the core hall run, and thank you for watching.